build it, you demolish it. The legendary Homewrecker Burrito. Come build yours today with 20+ fresh ingredients.
First online order, 10% off. Promo code ONLINE.
I'm your host, Delaney Kearns. Joining me again is Ice Pack coach Tim Healy. Over the Boards is sponsored by Moe's. You can order online at moescatersraleigh.com or call 919-999-3999. And a reminder that if the Ice Pack scores 5 goals in a home game the next day, you can get free queso at the Village District Moe's.
Could have had free queso all weekend
long.
Yeah,
I know. It was a good weekend. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, Delaney. Good to see you.
Good. All right. Well, we're going to just kind of pick up where we left off. Last time, basically. Since we talked last, we discussed what the team was going to do in order to prepare for the upcoming game against UNC. That week, the Ice Pack then beat the Tar Heels in an overtime 5-4 win with final goal from Nick Shook. Let's just talk about that game. What did you see? What were you happy with? What do you wish you'd seen more of?
You know, I thought we saw some good in-game resiliency.
Okay.
You know, we were down, especially late in the second. And, you know, the first period was pretty even. I think we were still down 2-1 coming out of it. The second period, they really took it to us. They were outshotting us badly. We got a lucky break on a goal late in the period to take it into the house 2-2, and we kind of carried that momentum out into the third. And the third was a little bit wild, actually. We had a great power play goal, that goals back and forth. It was pretty exciting, but I thought actually we controlled more of the play in the third, which set us up for overtime. And I think our third period really wore down UNC headed into overtime. And the overtime really was, it was a work of art by our guys. They controlled, you know, 3-on-3, people think of it as this wide open, energetic, high impact affair, but it's really not. 3-on-3 is almost more like a chess match than even 5-on-5 because it's about possession. It's about how you reload, how you enter. Because if you make a bad play, it is an odd man rush back the other way, and we saw some of that in overtime. But our guys did a great job of managing the changes, managing the game, getting great opportunities, and finally Nick Shook took advantage of it with about a minute to go. So it was a great win.
That was an exciting overtime. I was going to ask you, how important is it that the team capitalizes on those power plays? I know we've seen a lot of them lately, and how important is it that, you know, we make our move while we're up?
Well, and so if we go back to, we actually had a good power play goal in that third period as well. I think it was Zach Robinson had it. You know, our power play, you know, now skipping ahead to last weekend, after the UNC game really struggled. And we went back to this weekend against A&M, and I think we got a power play each game. Special teams, whether it's power play or shorthanded, they create such momentum swings. You get a shorthanded goal, it's a momentum swing. You get a power play goal, it's a momentum swing. It's almost like bonuses that really energizes your bench.
Yeah. All right, well, after that really exciting game, the team then stepped on the ice in Springfield, Virginia, where they did not have as much success.
No, we did not.
Coming home with 3 losses to teams including Penn State, Rowan University, and Maryland. What happened that weekend?
Well, they were all 1-goal losses.
Yeah.
And the first game against Penn State was, frankly, like every other game we've played over Penn State for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Every Penn State game has been 1 goal, or if it's been 2 goals, it's because of an empty netter. I thought we played well in that game. They got a power play goal late to tie it up, and that kind of sent the momentum over to their bench. So just what we were talking about, how special teams can energize you, that's what happened. We were up 2-1 with about 10 minutes left in the third. They capitalized on a power play, took that momentum. And it's just a really good, even hockey game. And again, every game we've ever played with Penn State can go either way. Thinking about when they first came down here 3 years ago, and we were down 2-0 going into the third, and we won 3-2. It's just that every game, they're tight, hard-fought, neutral zone affairs that could go either way, and that game certainly fit that bill. The tough part is we had a lead with 10 minutes in the third, and you have to bring that one home. You have to win that game at that point.
Yeah.
The rest of the weekend, you know, it's odd. Other than, you know, maybe the first period against Maryland, those other 6 periods of hockey, we played really well. For, you know, and the shot differentials were huge in the game. Maryland was somewhere like, you know, 35 or 32-11 in shots, and we lost 3-2. Rowan was the shot differential again. It was in the 30s to like 17, and we lost 2-1. We were just really snake bit. Could we have done a better job going to the harder spaces, trying to get greasy goals? 100%. But overall, we controlled those games. There were some fluky goals that went against us. For example, the Maryland goal, our defender did a great job of blocking the shot, and it literally went directly back to the guy's stick. Just things. Emery Oliver was a tipping machine in front. I mean, he was a guy that really was going to the dirty spaces. At one point, he tipped a shot, and it actually hit the goalie's stick that he had lost. And wasn't even, I mean, you can't, at some point, it's like you can't even make that stuff up. And so that was rough, because I thought, you know, again, first period at Maryland, we were down 2-0, but we'd only allowed 7 shots or 5 shots. And then, you know, the next 5 periods, we dominated those games end to end, but just we couldn't capitalize.
Yeah. I know that it was tough coming home from that, but then, you know, this past weekend where they played Texas A&M Friday and Saturday, those were both great games. I mean, Friday, I will be a little honest. Being a camera person behind the scenes, I was kind of thinking Ice Pack wasn't going to win that one. Going into the third down by 2 and kind of playing down that game, but then going in and kind of stepping it up in that third period and then winning it by 3. I think everyone in the rink was a little bit shocked, but what was the switch from that second period to the third?
Well, I think there's 2 things. You know, one, again, it was like, here we go again. It felt the same as Maryland and Rowan, right? Shots going to the third period were 29-7. You know, we've completely controlled the game. They had 2 odd man rush goals back the other way and 2 1-1s that led to their goals. We're literally doing everything. We've thrown everything at them other than the kitchen sink through the first 2 periods. But again, we hadn't been going to the greasy spots enough. Their goalie was playing a great game, and it was Holden Kaufman, right? Sometimes when you're putting a lot of pressure on a goalie, you just need that first one. And when Holden delivered that first one, you saw the whole mood on the bench change. It was like, okay, let's go. And then talk about the momentum swing was they had a 5-minute power play, but Zach Herman scored a shorthanded goal. And that was electric. Okay, now you have the momentum swing with a shorthanded goal. Yes, they did score 1 in their power play, but it's like, okay, we've got 2 now, it's 3-2, and you just saw, I think we actually scored 4 goals in the last 10 minutes. And it's just, you know, it's almost like the home run hitter that is, you know, it is in a slump, but they're streaky. They're like an Aaron Judge, and they just need to get those first couple, and they're going to go on a barrage. And that's what we've been talked about between periods. You know, we had guys like Zach Robinson, who he had just a terrific snapshot and a terrific release, passing on shots he normally wouldn't. And we talked about before the third period, right? Like, a home run hitter doesn't walk his way out of a slump. Right, that doesn't get you out of it, and that's kind of what we were starting to do in the second period of that game. And in the third period, it was like, okay, there's our offense, there's our team, and we scored a power play goal, we scored a shorthanded goal, we scored even strength, we scored a greasy goal. We scored all different ways in that period, so it was refreshing to see, and a long time coming.
No, I think it's very interesting from like a spectator's point of view to see like, kind of not dragging, playing a good game, but kind of, you know, not going as they would want it to go. But then after that first goal, I mean, like you said, the bench changes, the whole mood changes, the players change on the ice. Like, it's like, okay, we're back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rough mentally it was a rough 8 periods, right? Shot differentials had controlled the play, and you hadn't really gotten rewarded for it. And you're like, when is this going to change? And finally, you saw the tide turn. And we did, you know, we shuffled some lines, changed up some power plays. So there were some changes we made. But ultimately, you know, we talk about this. At some point, the law of averages does kick in. Would I've liked to see, you know, the next time we scored 8, would I have liked to maybe seen some of those the previous weekend? Sure, that would have helped.
That would have helped.
2 of those the previous weekend, and we have an entirely different weekend. But, you know, it is what it is, and it's at least we're finding the back of the net again.
How is it for the team to then after Friday, then play them again on Saturday, because they kind of already know, like, okay, this player does this. Like, you kind of can read the team. So then how do you use that to your advantage the next day?
Well, absolutely. And, we actually got a really good scouting report on them, and they are who they were. For example, 43, Robbie Glaus, great player. He scored their 2 goals Friday night. We knew he was their sniper, but we did a better job with him Saturday night. Sometimes you do have to see it first, right? And there was an example of it. I think for the guys going into Saturday, it was more the confidence of that third period on Friday. And actually, we talked about the game before the game and said, look, let's treat this first period as a continuation of the third period. And I actually even said to him, I said, okay, everyone, I want you to shut your eyes, and whether you scored them or not, I want you to visualize those 5 pucks going into the net the night before. Sometimes you just need mentally to see that puck going into the net. And then we came out and scored 4 goals in the first period on Saturday night, and it was like, okay,
they're seeing it.
Yeah, we're good. And everyone else is too, and so it was. And again, their goalie was playing great too, definitely held them in it. We had some penalty trouble in that first period. They got a power play goal, so it kind of kept it artificially close, 4-2 at the end of the first. But overall, we felt confident because we knew we were scoring again.
Yeah. Well, as we look a little bit ahead to the Ice Pack at home this Friday, they previously lost to Maryland, and they're going to be facing them again. And as you talked about, sometimes you have to see it before you know how to act on it. What do you think is the most important thing this Friday that we really need to act on, having already seen them before?
Yeah, Maryland is another team. The scouting report that we had on them, they're exactly who we thought they were. They're very opportunistic offensively. On odd man rushes, they tend to be able to bury it. You have to limit those, and that's what we saw in the first game. 2 of their goals came off odd man rushes. And even though one was a little bit of a fluke because we blocked the shot, then it went back to them. So we have to make sure we limit their odd man rushes because they do have some guys that can finish. Phenomenal goalie. Phenomenal goalie. He did a great job. So we know we're going to have to take away his eyes and do a lot of what we did starting the third period against Texas A&M, going to those dirty spaces. Because the other things, you get that dirty, greasy goal, and it still erodes at their confidence a little bit. So suddenly maybe they're backing in a little bit. You're taking away their space to challenge on a shot. So now that shot that wasn't beating him in the first period is now beating him in the second period. And even though it's not a dirty goal, that dirty goal in the first helps to set that up. And I hope the guys are, I know the guys are going to be motivated because that's a game they really felt like got away from.
Okay, yeah. Do you think that the home rink advantage will help them? I know they don't really have many losses at home.
Yeah, we've only lost 1 at home this year, so fortunately we're at home until middle of January right now. But yeah, definitely, we've only really played maybe 2 bad periods at home all year, so that goes a long way. You look at our scoring differential at home; it's pretty electric.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take a break, but we'll be right back in a minute.
We build it, you demolish it. The legendary Homewrecker Burrito. Come build yours today with 20+ fresh ingredients.
First online order, 10% off. Promo code ONLINE.
Hi, welcome back. So as we look ahead, I kind of want to look at things a little bit farther in advance, but let's talk about the ACCHL European League that is starting at the beginning of January. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the ACCHL, we're taking an all-star team from players in the Premier Conference. Basically, about each team has a line of players. And we're going to Slovenia. And over there...
That is insane.
Yeah,
Can I just say, that is insane.
It's really exciting. And it's great because it's a jumping off point. So we're going to play U20 teams from Slovenia, Italy. I think we're going to play Red Bull's U20 team. It's going to be really exciting. We'll be gone for a week, and some of guys going on it from the team. I don't want to miss anyone. So we have Drew Breshingham, kind of our penalty kill specialist. We have Garrett Arini, he and his 100 points.
Yeah.
And we have Ricky Frosch going. So so long time stalwart defender. We have Zach Robinson, of course. He's been our leading goal scorer over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And we have Alex James, who he's gone through a lot. So I'm glad that he's going on this. So he's able to, he's been a point a game guy for us for a long time. So it's so we have 5 guys going. We do play Rowan while we're gone. So the rest of the guys back home better take care of that one.
Okay.
And actually, I'll be on the trip too.
Okay.
So looking forward to it. And I think it's just a great opportunity, and especially, when we talk about hockey in Europe, especially in Raleigh, we think so much of the Finns, right, in Aho.
Yeah.
But it's great to go in a different area, in Slovenia and that area, and it'll be right after the holidays. So,
that is amazing, Coach.
Yeah, there's a day actually to
cool.
go skiing if they want to go do that.
Okay.
And so it's going to be exciting, and I think it's great for the league to do this type of international trip.
How do you prepare for something like this? I mean, I studied abroad in the Czech Republic and I actually went and saw a hockey game. It's a totally different scene over there. What are you anticipating on seeing?
Well, it is. First of all, it's a bigger rink,
Yeah.
so it's an Olympic-sized sheet, which the guys that grew up in and around Raleigh, they're used to it because Iceplex, which actually used to be our home rink, is Olympic-sized. So you even go back to a guy like Frosch and Arini, they play their home games at Iceplex, so that's helpful. To be honest with you, it's it'll be a tough preparation because it's not like we have a week training camp before we get over. So it's going to be really incumbent upon the guys not to fatten themselves up too much over the holidays. What I will say for those guys, it's a lot of hockey while we're there. So they should be in great shape coming back for the stretch run.
How many games do you anticipate on them playing while they're over there?
We're playing 4.
Okay, 4 games.
Yep.
Okay,
so
that is a lot in a week.
4 games and a practice, so it's exciting. And it's funny. We actually have Joel Hughes, the goalie for UNC, going. Who's closer to my age, so I joked. And the other coaches are going actually older than me. I said, Joel, it's great that you're going. I have someone of my age on the trip. I don't know if you like that one.
I don't know if you like that one.
But so no, it's a good group. It's actually ex-special forces, so it's like we're traveling with our own security guys. So that's good too. But no, I'm really excited. Especially, it's an older group for us. It's all juniors and seniors.
Yeah, that is nice.
Including 2 fifth-year guys. So it's a nice reward for them for a great career.
Yeah, that's an incredible experience. Nonetheless, I wanted to talk a little bit about captaincy and leadership and kind of what we've seen so far and what you expect to see later on from the captains, how they keep the team together. I know in games such as on Friday, after that second period, when you kind of been dragging the whole game, you're down 0-2, it can be very easy for a team to kind of unravel. So what have you seen leadership-wise that keeps them on track?
Yeah, we talk a lot about that, a bad team doesn't have the coach or anyone going in and holding the locker room together.
Yeah.
A good team has the coaches go in and hold them accountable. A really great team or a championship team, it comes from the players, right? And they're the ones that want it. They're the ones that have to say it. And you look at, teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? It is guys like Stamkos that go into there.
Yeah.
And the Canes, I think actually, Brenda Morris had to teach and mentor Aho and some of those guys to get to that point, and I think they're there. For us, we don't just, and it goes beyond the captains too, right? So first of all, we really could have come apart at the seams. I mean, that was a trying 8 periods of hockey. Going into that third period against A&M, it really could have gone one way or the other. And yes, are we a stronger team than A&M? By every measure we are. You look at rankings, records, strength of schedule, everything, the way the game was carried. But we know sometimes in hockey, that doesn't guarantee you a win.
Right.
We experienced that. And so that was really the point where it could disintegrate. So when I came into the locker room, because I'm normally the last up, and the guys were up on the board, and they were trying to figure things out. They were taking ownership of it, and it was a lot of the captains. James had people Alex James had people at the board. You had Addison Lawrence, who's a goalie who, goalies actually know how to get scored on. Some more so than others. I certainly know how to get scored on more than Addison Lawrence as a former goalie. But and that type of moment of guys trying to work it out and figure it out themselves, because that's when you have absolute buy-in, right? That's when you have transfer of the guys buying in, and it sticks better and it translates onto the ice. And again, a lot of that came from the captains, you know, Drew Breshingham and Garrett Arini, Alex James, and Jackson Cowan, like those guys. And you know, the other thing that Jackson goes on side, he's the club president, but Jackson is also one of arguably the best young referees in the area.
Yeah, I actually knew that.
Yeah, he will. You know, and he'll be doing. You know, he'll be doing college games when he graduates, junior games. He could actually make a run and get up in the minors and see where it goes. But even Jackson on the bench, when there's a call and everyone's like, "Oh my God," that's it. And Jackson's like, "I would have called it."
Yeah,
and it just ends.
You know
You know what I mean? Like, or when it is a bad call and Jackson goes out and he talks to the refs, right? That settles stuff down too. And you know, and they all have roles with that too, right? So James is smart. He knows the game so well. So seeing him at the board. Jackson with the referees and his calmness. G is just this ball of energy, right? Like what you see in the ice with his legs going 1,000 miles an hour, that's what's happening in the locker room. And Bresci, you know, the guy that is willing to pay any price for his team to win. It sets that, you know, no job is too big or too small. So that group, they all have a great role. And you know, it took all that to kind of get us through that there.
All right. That's great. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the highly anticipated game that's just a week away, the Governor's Cup, where the Ice Pack will be stepping on the ice again this time, taking on the Tar Heels, but this time in PNC Arena. Last year, UNC won the Governor's Cup.
For the first time?
For the first time in their team's history. What are we expecting to see in this game in order to reclaim that title?
Well, I think first off, you know, I think we're to the point where any rivalry game, things get a litend bit crazy, right? We saw that a couple weeks ago. We saw that last year. We saw that at the start of the Carter-Finley game where each team scored in the opening minute. So these games tend to have a bit of a craziness to them. What's interesting is normally even more so because guys aren't used to playing in a crowd or a stage like this.
Right.
Oddly enough, other than the freshmen, guys on both teams have now played on a bigger stage in this, so so that will certainly help. But you know, it'll be a tight affair. There's no question about it. You know, we'll be motivated because we didn't win it last year.
Yeah.
They'll be motivated because they lost that one in overtime, and they, you know, when you lose in overtime, each team thinks they should have won the game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so they'll be motivated. So I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be high energy. I think there'll be some twists and turns along the way, as there always are in rivalry games. And it's really what it's become. It's been a great kickoff to the football, you know, the whole Go to Hell Carolina week.
Yeah.
as you get there for the football game later that week. So it's really that spot on the calendar is awesome. You know, I'm pretty sure we'll have Governor Cooper there dropping the puck.
Yes.
I don't care what your political persuasion is, to have a governor that is that big of a hockey fan, and he's a huge hockey fan.
He is a big hockey fan.
Huge Caniac.
He is.
Even if he did go to that school up the road, he's pretty impartial during that day, and it's big for promoting hockey.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not sure how many states would have 2 ACHA teams that will have had the governor drop the puck. I think 6 of his 8 years that he's been on, 6 of his 7 years in office,
amazing.
which is pretty special. So, yeah, it'll be a great night. I will say this. Tickets, people, you got to get online and get your tickets. You can, you know, on the website, on Ticketmaster.com.
Yep.
For students, we actually have a special. We have 2 important things for students coming your way.
Oh.
So number 1 is anyone that buys a ticket online, make sure you use your .edu email address because we're going against the Tar Heels fans, students, and whichever set of students will get a free student game next semester.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so,
okay,
I mean,
that's good to know.
State fans, I've already written that off. I know you're going to carry through on that.
I'm going to tell all my friends that.
Yeah. The other thing is any students that come to the game on Friday night with a regular purchase ticket will get a free PNC ticket. Complimentary PNC ticket, but you have to, and that's the first 500. So we're playing Maryland, and actually an ancient ACC rival, right? So it's a good reason to get up there. So you know that's where your $6 regular entry ticket does get you a PNC ticket. Look, none of us like Ticketmaster fees, so you know. But I will say this: Ticketmaster has been a good marketing partner for us. But you know, it is what it is with the fees. But that's the way to beat them out there. General public again. If you want a way to beat the Ticketmaster fees, use code PNC for our home game on Friday night, and that's actually gives you 50% off. So think about that as a way of savings against Ticketmaster fees as well. So to get the tickets a little bit more what you're used to. So, all right, Wolfpack Nation, you have no excuse now, right?
You have to
go.
go.
So, yeah, it's a Monday night. You know the Canes aren't playing because we're in their home, because we're in their building.
Yeah.
If basketball was playing, they wouldn't. They're on the road playing some low-level school they'll beat by 50. So there's really no reason not to be there, Wolfpack Nation.
Yeah, what can you tell the fans that they're going to see? I mean, how you guys have like 13 new players, and they've never stepped on PNC ice before. How is that going to be different? What are you practicing? What are you telling them? What are the older guys telling them?
You know, one of the things we actually do tell, because we are a lot fortunate, not so much this weekend in terms of the crowd. 2 game weekends are tough, and there was a tragic accident on 40 that I think kept people coming from getting up to the game. But for the most part, we're used to playing in large crowds, right? We've played in front of 3 sellouts at home this year, sellout at Liberty. And one of the things we talk to them about is you're not there for the crowd. The crowd is there for you.
They might think they are.
Yeah, the crowd is there for you.
They might eat up the attention.
And the crowd is there for you in terms of giving energy, right? Like, you know, when you score, you know, you're not doing stuff for the sake of the crowd.
Right.
Get that energy. I mean, there is nothing better than when you hear that Wolf chant take over, and it just gives you so much energy. You know, it feeds the legs, right? You know, a little Wolf comment, you know, from Herb Brooks there. So, you know, be out there, be loud, and in terms of what you're going to see, you will see. I think right now we've turned a corner. I think you're going to see a great NC State performance out there next Friday. This Friday you'll see
This Friday.
Maryland. See Total Coach. I'm not looking that forward again, but on Monday as well you'll see it.
All right. Well, thanks for talking today, Coach. I'm very excited for the 2 upcoming games. We'll see you again next time on Over the Boys.
Okay.
Build it, you demolish it. The legendary Homewrecker Burrito. Come build yours today with 20+ fresh ingredients.
First online order, 10% off. Promo code online.